So let's speak to John Caudwell, because just a few days after meeting the former Shadow Chancellor John McDonnell, the founder of Phones for You and now philanthropist decided he would do everything he could to keep Jeremy Corbyn out of power. He donated £500,000 to the Conservative Party, but he's now got a plan to get the UK back on its feet after the pandemic, and we can speak to him now. Hi there, John.
Hi, how are you?
Very well, thank you. I've got to speak to you, first of all, of course, about the by-election result in Hartlepool. What have you made of that result?
Well, it's amazing, isn't it? But I think it's reflective of several things, but very much so the local management of the economy there with their green energy policies. And I think there's a lot of drive in that area to make that area of the UK very, very successful. So I think that's seen to be a Conservative victory, and so I think it was natural that Labour ended up losing one of their very, very long-standing strongholds.
I wonder if it's similar to what happened in your hometown of Stoke back in the 2019 general election. I was there the day after, and I remember speaking to a woman. I went to her home in Stoke, and she'd voted Tory for the first time in her life. She actually said that her mum would be turning in her grave, but she felt that the Conservatives were listening. And I just wonder if there's echoes of that in Hartlepool.
Well, yes, I think, as I said, the local what the Conservatives have done locally in their management of green energy there is exceptional. But I think also, if we look at where the UK now is in this vaccine rollout, it's been absolutely exemplary and extraordinary example in the whole of the world. And so I think what we're doing is phenomenal. It's essential for the health of Britain and for Britain to be able to get back and the economy to get back. And of course, that's all down to the Conservatives' foresight and drive on this. So, after a bit of a rocky start in the early days on COVID, I think they've really come good, and that's what people are seeing and remembering. And everybody's very excited about the future and the fact that they can get out. There is another factor, of course, as well. And I don't necessarily agree with this, but we put too much money in the pockets of people on furlough who've ended up better off than they would have been. And I would have rather seen that money, that extra money, put into the economy to drive real jobs and to drive growth. But what this does mean is now when lockdown eventually comes off completely, we've got a glut of money that wants to go into the marketplace. We'll have people that are desperate to go on holiday, desperate to go to restaurants and enjoy themselves and have fun. And for the most part, the people are much better off than they've ever been. And it's only the excluded that are suffering, unfortunately, and then businesses that have been very, very badly hit, like the leisure industry. But overall, people have got a lot of money to spend, and they are going to come back to the market with a vengeance.
They've got a lot of money to spend, haven't they, if they've managed to hang on to a job, because they haven't been able to spend it. But if they haven't been able to hang on to their job, it's been desperately hard for many people as well.
Desperately hard, yeah, absolutely. I mean, as you may know, I've been campaigning for Excluded because I don't really see why the government have left Excluded out. They seem to have got, to an extent, the balance of help wrong. Some people have had more help than they needed, and others a lot less. Now, of course, that was always going to be a potential problem because it's very, very difficult to manage fairness over the entire population of the UK. But I do think they've got a few things wrong. But nonetheless, we are in a very, very good position now compared to Europe to bounce back out of this pandemic over the next few months. And my only concern is that we'll be going into a boom, and when all that excess money and excess appetite for spending is finished, we'll still be left with some endemic problems in the UK economy that need resolving.
And so that investment you want the government to put in to help stimulate the economy and get it moving, how should that be funded? Because when we think about the public purse at the moment, it's starting in a pretty poor place.
Yeah, well, there's multiple ways of funding it. It can either be borrowing, it can be printing money, or it can be investment from Britain's entrepreneurs and from Britain's business people encouraged into other businesses that the government are supporting. But we certainly need to work very, very hard on inward investment and trying to woo companies from all over the world. And now that we're out of the EU and not controlled by them, we do have that opportunity of really going out there and fighting for business and bringing companies into Britain.
I said in the introduction that you famously gave £500,000 to the Conservative Party. It was ahead of the 2019 general election, wasn't it? Just a few days after, well, quite a feisty radio interview with then Shadow Chancellor John McDonnell. That was your quest to what? Just make sure that under no circumstances Jeremy Corbyn reached number 10?
Well, the problem was at the time, it wasn't so much the Labour Party as a principle, it was what they were saying, it was their rhetoric. They were really condemning rich people, condemning wealth creators, and I saw if the Labour Party got in, I saw utter fiasco for the UK going forward, because they drive the rich people out of the UK, not encourage them. And the consequences for the poorer people at the bottom of the food chain would be much worse, not better. And you know, one of the things that I found really abhorrent was they talked about milking the rich and increasing the taxes, and that's a fair enough argument. I understand that argument, but they did it and despise the rich at the same time. Now, if you're going to tax the rich, for goodness sake, say, look, guys, you've done a great job. You're making a lot of money for Britain. We really want to keep you, but we need a bit more money from you. For goodness sake, do it in a friendly way that encourages those rich people to want to remain in the UK rather than drive them out with multiple rhetoric that just is destructive. And that's what I was worried about. And I felt that there would have been a mass exodus of taxpayers in the UK that would have gone to sunnier climates, and it would have been a fiasco. And so for the first time ever, I really got involved and went to see Boris and donated £500,000.
And so now when you look at Sir Keir Starmer's Labour Party, do you think that a Labour government under him would be good for business?
Well, I think Keir Starmer's a bit unknown at the moment. He came in like a lamb, not criticising anything and sounding conciliatory, and then he just sort of changed his rhetoric to be critical of everything the government did. And it does sicken me about politicians of any persuasion. It's not just the Labour Party. It sickens me that all they seem to do half the time is bicker about the other side. And what we really need is positive, cohesive action to drive business forward, to drive the health of the nation forward, and to keep Britain with that phenomenal title, great. That's what we need, a great Britain.
We've only got a minute before the news, but I do want to ask you, I know one of your huge pledges has been to give away 70% of your wealth to charity, which is a phenomenal commitment. I just wondered how your children felt about that.
Oh, they're very happy with it, because I brought them up to be philanthropic and humanitarian, and I was lucky that they were already of that mindset quite naturally. But along with then my example, they're very happy about it. But it won't leave them penniless, though. Let's not forget, they won't be penniless, but they will have the pride of changing hundreds of thousands of people's lives using my money.